Kruger Bear, at your service. Last time we took a look at the two short films made for the TV movie Gakko no Kaiden G. In a Corner introduced the Yurei Kayako, who attacked and killed the schoolgirl Kana and left her friend Hisayo to an uncertain fate. And then there was 4. You know what? I'm losing count. From now on, it's called 10-4s. In 10-4s, a boy at the same school is stalked by the cat-like Yurei Toshio. Today we will explore the origins of the curse in the first feature-length Ju-on movies, The Curse 1 and 2. What we get is essentially 10 short films across 2 movies. With a micro-budget and shot back-to-back in just 9 days, Ju-on 1 and 2 came from writer-director Takashi Shimizu combining multiple short scripts. So let's dive in and see what horrors await us. It's just some old dear with her shopping? Are you sure you've got the right movie?
Yeah, it's the right one.
Okay then. Maybe she has something terrifying in her shopping, like broccoli or butter beans. She passes by a house and gets the willies. This is the Psyche house, where the Yurei Kayako and Toshio lived when they were alive, and where the curse began. In the first short proper we meet Shunsuke Kobayashi, Toshio's teacher. Kobayashi has known Toshio's mother Kayako since their college days. He goes to visit them at home because Toshio hasn't been coming to school. He finds him home alone, bloodied and bruised and the house in a mess. Kobayashi hears a cat yowling, which he thinks is coming from outside. We then cut forward in time, still in the Psyche house, but now occupied by the Murakami family. The Murakami children are daughter Kana from In a Corner and her brother Tsuyoshi, who was the boy from 10-4s. Kana is being tutored by Yuki. Yuki has a phobia of cats. I don't know what Kana's studying for, but she would flop the Bechdel test, because all she wants to do is talk about boys. Kana runs off to feed the bunnies at school, and we all know how that works out for her. While Yuki is waiting, she listens to some royalty-free music. The CD player shits the bed, and she hears disturbing sounds coming from the attic. An adorable kitty chases her into the attic, where she is attacked by Kayako. Tsuyoshi hears nothing. Nice bike, dingus. Is that your sister's? In his interview with Japattack.com, Shimizu explained that attic conversions aren't a thing in Japan, so they are always dark and abandoned places. He likened it to stories of monsters under the bed from Europe and America, which don't translate to the Japanese because they sleep on the floor. The following 2 stories run concurrently, and take place later that day but after the events of the short movies. Mizuho turns up at the school looking for her boyfriend Tsuyoshi. Mizuho is played by Chiaki Kuriyama. You might know her from such films as Battle Royale, seen here wearing a yellow trackie, fighting someone in a school uniform, or Kill Bill, where she wears a school uniform to fight Uma Thurman in a yellow trackie. Mizuho is stalked by Toshio's feet. Then she gets the same phone call as Tsuyoshi. If you find feet scary, you might want to give that Tarantino movie a miss. What is this? Once upon a time in America? Answer the chuffing phone. At the morgue, 3 police officers begin a murder investigation after Hisayo's broken body is found, along with the remains of the bunnies and a human jaw. And Kana returns home after the events of Inner Corner. In the penultimate episode, Kayako, we return to Toshio's house and back in time to moments after the first episode. Kobayashi finds Kayako's 7-style diary and learns that she has been obsessing about him for years. Investigating a buzzing noise from the attic, he finds Kayako's recently deceased corpse. He immediately grabs Toshio and heads for the door, but because he's never seen a horror movie, he stops to answer a phone call. The call is from Kayako's husband, Takeo Saiki. Takeo found her diary, and after killing Kayako, went to Kobayashi's house and murdered his wife, Minami, and their unborn child. Kayako's animated corpse comes crawling down the stairs. Meanwhile, Takeo is attacked by a bin bag. There is one more episode left, but if you're watching these movies back to back, I recommend you stop the movie here. It'll become clear why in a moment. The final episode of Ju-on 1 is called Kayako. The Psyche house is now owned by a realtor, Tatsuya Suzuki. He's been having trouble selling the property. He shows it to his sister Kayako, who has psychical powers. She tells him to leave a bottle of sake in the house, and whoever enters the house must drink the sake, and if it tastes bad, don't sell them the house. A while later the house has been sold. Tatsuya maintains the family who bought it were unaffected by the sake. Kayako passes by the house, catching sight of the new owner, she gets the willies. Then the movie just kind of stops happening. Ju-on 2 opens with a brief recap of the Toshio episode. Then the Kayako episode from the first film plays out in full, all 17 minutes of it, as does the Kayako episode with an extra 2 minutes of footage spliced in the middle. Then when we get to the point where the first movie ended, the Kayako episode continues for a further 6 minutes. Over half an hour of Ju-on 2 is reused footage from the first movie, with running times of 1 hour 10 and 1 hour 15. By cutting out the repeated episodes, this can be watched as a single movie with a less than 2 hour running time. Just stop the first movie before the Kayako episode and pick up the second movie at the 20-minute mark and watch it in full from there. Honestly, it feels like the endpoint of Ju-on 1 was chosen by the editors swinging a meat cleaver at the film. So without any further doo-doo, let's dive into Ju-on the Curse 2 and pick up Kayako's story. In the extra footage we meet Nobuyuki, Tatsuya Suzuki's son. They coincidentally live in the same house where Minami Kobayashi was murdered, and we see the curse has infected their home as well. Kayako uncovers the history of the Psyche house and finds out about the murder at her brother's apartment. She rushes over to find Nobuyuki in a trance and an apparition of Takeo Saiki reenacting Minami's murder. In the episode Tatsuya, we visit Yoshimi and Hiroshi Kitada, who now live in the Psyche house. Possessed by Kayako, Yoshimi goes psycho too on her husband. Tatsuya has taken the now catatonic Kayako to their parents' house. He goes to the Kitada home to investigate the curse, where he meets the possessed Yoshimi. Tatsuya hasn't seen a horror movie either, so he doesn't GTFO. Toshio appears at the Suzuki's home. He kills both the parents but leaves Kayako and Nobuyuki alive. Then he returns to the Kitada home. police officers who investigated Hisayo's murder in Ju-on 1 return. One of them has been driven insane. Kamio has made the connection between the house and the series of murders and disappearances and insists on calling off the investigation. But he has already been infected by the curse.
この人
知ってるの？
ちょうど今来てますよ。
来てる？本当にこの人なんだな。似てるだけじゃないか。
Nobuyuki has returned to school. He stares out of the window while his classmates are cleaning the classroom. He sees Kayako in the yard. The other kids teleport away as Kayako climbs in through the window. There are now multiple Kayakos, suggesting that each new curse creates a copy of her. In the final vignette, the Psyche house is up for sale again. Two kids, Saori and Kazumi, have snuck into the house and find the sake. Saori has a swig and it tastes foul to her. We then hear Kayako's death rattle and Toshio's cat cry. I was interested in finding out if there was anything in the sake story, so with the caveat that I might be talking bollocks, and based off a quick internet search, I came across a type of sake called omiki. That is sake that has been offered up at a Shinto shrine, making the sake divine. Spirits can live in the sake, then the participants in the ritual then drink the sake to get the blessings of the gods. This suggests that Kayako and Toshio are bad spirits that foul the sake by cursing it rather than blessing it. I've noticed some people are calling Ju-on 2 the first theatrically released movie, and it's true that it was shown in one cinema for a midnight show a couple of weeks before the video release, but it was never intended to be a theatrical movie. In Japan, direct-to-video or V-cinema doesn't have the same negative connotations as it does here. It's considered more of a space for taking risks, and censorship isn't as strict, so many directors will choose the creative liberties it affords them rather than make movies for theatrical distribution. So do these movies take advantage of their creative freedom? Well, they're not exactly like a typical cinema movie. As I've said, they're essentially 10 short films. There's no main character, and no one has a character arc. There aren't any weighty themes to the stories. They just exist to try and scare you. I don't think there's anything wrong with that if that's what you want. Movies are often compared to roller coaster rides. I'd say this is the movie equivalent of a ghost train. In an interview, director Takashi Shimizu said that getting scares out of an audience is about timing. It's about letting doubt and fear build up to create suspense. In my opinion, he achieves this for the most part. He'll hold on reaction shots for a long time, making you feel anxious about the next cut. When in real life we hear inexplicable noises in another room, none of us would jump to the conclusion that it was caused by a ghost, and neither do the characters in these movies. They'll react out of curiosity rather than immediate fear, even when we as the audience know their life is in danger. In contrast to a lot of modern horror, the focus is on suspense and creepiness. There is only one jump scare for me. Sometimes the scares are very effective, others not so much, but then when they don't work you're quickly on to the next story and the next scare. Though I did find the scene where Takeo is chased by a bin bag to be completely goofy. There are limitations with the movie because of the budget and schedule. There are no complex camera setups. The lighting can be quite flat at times and the sound design doesn't always feel well tied into the scene. Just like the shorts, they are shot on 1990s Shitio. Sometimes low quality video can add to the creepiness of a movie, like the VHS movies. Not that one. Or the Blair Witch. Not that one. You could, however, shoot a better looking movie on a telephone these days.
On your fucking telephone. Get real.
As Shimizu told neomag.co.uk, you can't get a scare out of CGI, so it was a shame he chose to use CGI for Kana, which has not aged well and kicks all the built up tension square in the nuts. As someone who got into horror in the 80s, I'm a fan of makeup effects artists like Kevin Yeager and Rob Bottin. I still have a preference for practical gore effects over CGI. A severed jaw isn't possible without making a full puppet, and I imagine it wasn't possible within the budget. I just think it would have been better if they'd gone in a different direction and used practical effects instead. Despite the extensive use of recycled footage, the second movie does a good job of expanding the mythology, and if you treat it as one long movie you can overlook that. I like the ending with the multiple Kayakos. It suggests that the curse spreads like a virus, leading to hundreds, thousands or maybe even millions of Kayakos spreading around the world. It gives a low-budget movie a sense of scale beyond its budget. I know these movies as Ju-on the Curse. In some territories they're just called Ju-on. They were followed by the theatrical movies Ju-on the Grudge. In Japan, both the video and theatrical movies are just called Ju-on. This seems to have caused some confusion at Amazon.com. Some of the movies that are called either Ju-on or Ju-on the Curse are actually Ju-on the Grudge. If you're interested in seeing the movies, I've included some links below. Anywho, the movies did well on video, so we'll be back next time to look at the first movies made specifically for a cinema release, Ju-on the Grudge 1 and 2. Like, comment and subscribe if you can be asked, and I'll see you soon.